Hi, beautiful people. I want you guys to take this time before we get into today's episode's reviews. I want you to take this time to subscribe to my channel, to like my video, and to comment on my video.
This time we'll try to make you forget who you are and where you came from. Don't let it do that.
Damn! Jeffrey Thompson, house manager.
Will!
Oh, Viv! 10 years is a long time.
Let me show you around.
Where them dimes at?
Hillary! Let's go find you something fit for a prince.
What do you think?
I made you look.
Yo, Uncle Phil! I'm glad you're safe. We'll talk later.
Cousin Will!
Yo, is this really baby Ashley?
You're a long way from home, Mom.
Oh, Tim, how you been?
You know, thriving. I hope one day we can talk about why you're really here. Do you know why I'm here from Philly?
Scrapping the bull court. Got nasty.
Who threw that? Was it you?
Now some bad man from Philly, you want to deal with you.
Boy, I moved mountains to get you here. So here's the story. Came to Bel-Air for a better education. Simple. Be patient. Give this a real chance.
We have a different set of rules here, okay? If you want to do well, just keep your head down and follow my lead.
Whoa, whoa. Man, you know I'm a rep West Philly wherever I go.
Yo, King, what's up, man?
No love.
Look around. These are my people.
What?
Now on, steer clear.
Welcome to Bel-Air.
What the hell is my life?
Yo, chill out, bro.
Maybe Will just isn't cut out for this. Why are we working so hard to save a boy who doesn't want to be saved?
Because we owe it to him.
A real man takes responsibility for his actions. A real man knows when to let go of his pride and make the most out of a second chance.
Be the Will who charmed West Philly with his talent and swag.
Let the music diffuse all attention. Get out my face, you people so phony.
There's no going back.
Made you look.
Episode 5, because Viv agreed
King of the
to
town.
fly out Trey, we see Trey in the next episode. Now, when Trey arrives in LA, he has a good time. Will and Viv show him a good time. Uncle Phil gets them tickets to this D-Smoke concert and backstage passes. So Trey gets to meet D-Smoke, and he's completely enamored by him. He's so like starstruck, and he sees him and he doesn't say anything besides, "That's D-Smoke. That's D-Smoke. That's really D-Smoke." Like, that's all he says when he first meets him. And then after that, this whole entire episode is about whether or not will stay in LA, because at this point we find out that Rashad actually has died. Since Will has no reason to stay in LA, everybody's posing that he shouldn't stay in LA. Will has actually started to like LA. He started to build friendship. He's on the basketball team. Everybody's starting to like him. He has no reason to leave. So he basically tells this to Trey at the concert. Trey is really upset because he feels like Will owes him something for essentially leaving him back in Philly for a better life, which makes no sense to me. Because when Trey finds this out, he's very upset about it. He feels like Will owes him something. He feels like Will owes him something, some more lines of, I guess, flying him out there and them living as a big happy family, because he feels like Will has the money to fly him and his whole family out and basically give them a condo or something. I don't understand what the reasoning was, like what he thought would be happening if he wasn't going back to Philly. Like, did he think that Will was going to fly him and his family out and they were going to live there off of Will? Like, I don't understand what Trey wanted Will to do. Like, if he was like not happy with being in LA, I understand him wanting to go back to Philly, but he was really happy being in LA, so he should have been happy here for his best friend. I feel like Trey wasn't his true friend. That he doesn't see that yet. Like, Will doesn't see that he's that type of friend yet. So he just thinks that he's losing like this lifetime friend. That he does is that he tells Aunt Viv about the situation. Aunt Viv tells him that some people just to be your friend for a long time, basically. And now is the time that you need to just, if you feel like he's not good for you, just let it be gone. So Will takes that kind of advice and he just rolls with it, and he just thinks about it for a couple of days. So then we go to Aunt Viv. Aunt Viv is slowly getting back into her painting. She's painting. She has like all these new paintings in her studio, kind of. And she's talking to Michael Ealy. Now, Michael Ealy's actually introduced in this episode. And he's playing Reed. Now, usually when they bring in Michael Ealy in any show or movie, he's coming in as the homewrecker or the crazy man or both. So we have him there. Vivian is basically using Michael Ealy's character to, what is he doing? Michael Ealy's character is he doesn't really state what he is. If he does, I'm not really paying attention. But I think he's like a artist, producer, recruiter of some sort, because he does start looking at her for like a fellowship so that Vivian can get back into painting and to have someone fund her artist's career at this point. Is that person that is looking out for her and basically advising her on what type of pieces to paint, what they're looking for. So she's using his compliments to give her inspiration. But at this time, she cannot get completely enamored by his character yet, because she has to focus on hosting a party for her sorority sisters. Her sorority sisters, I believe she's like an Alpha Kappa situation. And we learned that Uncle Phil is also a part of a frat in this episode, where we're going to see the sorority and the frat in this episode. So Hillary has moved out, actually. She moved out in episode 4. She moved out and she moved into this thing called a creator house, where she just basically, she films her content and she lives there for free. All she has to do is film every day. She's having a hard time actually trying to figure out what content to film, because the person that is actually running the house wants her to kind of branch out of her comfort zone and start her to broaden her audience. So what she does is that she takes a break from filming that particular day, but her boss thinks that's a bad idea, because they have to post something every 24 hours, and she has to help her mom host the party, because her mom actually wants her to cater the party for her instead of filming that day. So what ends up happening with that is that Hillary filmed something she's not particularly proud of, but somehow it gets posted to the internet before she can edit it, because the creator of the household has a little clause in the contract that she signed. Anything she films is basically, I want to say, free game. Anything she films is basically free game for him to use and to create and to edit the way he wants to. So that doesn't end too well for her. So Hillary and Aunt Viv are hosting the party. Her sorority sisters show up at the party, and everything goes great until they ask Hillary about what she plans to do with her life after she has dropped out of school. So she just says she wants to find herself. She's still trying to find herself. She's a social media person, and they don't really know too much about what social media is, but they are saying that she's brave for dropping out of school, and they wish that they could be like her. So one of the things that does happen is that, remember that in the last couple episodes, Hillary had like a interview with Haute Cuisine. Aunt Viv, sorority sister, was the person that arranged the whole entire interview, and she shows up to the event thinking that Hillary is going to apologize for her behavior online. Hillary has no idea that it was the sorority sister that that showed up and is expecting an apology from her. She doesn't know, but the girl assumes that she knows, and she also assumes that Aunt Viv knows what her daughter did on social media, because Aunt Viv didn't see the video or see the Instagram live for her to know that her daughter basically bashed Haute Cuisine. So when she finds out that her daughter did this, the lady was like, oh, I'm expecting an apology. Aunt Viv was like, an apology? For what? What happened? Hillary was like, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. And basically tells her, sorry, not sorry, basically. And, she walks away. And the sorority sister is like, okay, you've lost a friend and you've lost a sorority sister as well. And Aunt Viv is like, okay. But basically, she's still upset with Hillary. She lets her know that you shouldn't have burned that bridge because it's all about who you know and everything like that. Da da da. So she kind of says, Hillary says that she's trying to walk her own path. She doesn't leave yet. She does go back to the party and starts like putting out more stuff for the family and stuff like that, but she does kind of like go into her own thing. Then we get to Ashley. Ashley's trying to find herself, and Ashley asks Hillary a couple questions about a crush. She says she has a crush, and Hillary's like, does the crush have a name? And she tells her the crush's name. And we find out about a little bit more about Ashley and how she's finding herself. And we see that Hillary accepts Ashley for who she is. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing. And we go to Will and Lisa. Will and Lisa are getting closer this episode. They're getting closer this episode. And they're still on the friend zone. But they're not focusing on that too much because Will and Carlton have called another truce. Will and Carlton have called another truce, so Will is actually giving Carlton and Lisa space. And Carlton realizes that, so he uses that to his advantage, and he starts to try to get closer to Lisa because he realizes that Lisa is not really focusing on him, and Lisa is in her grieving situations. Lisa is still focusing on the loss of her mom 3 years ago to lupus. So Lisa, it's a harder time for her to focus right now because she's also trying to get ready for the fundraiser that they'll be hosting later on in honor of her mom in the next episode. So they want, because she's focusing on that, she's not really too much worried about Will and Carlton and their attention. So Carlton uses that to his advantage, and he tries to appeal to her on a more softer level and just like be her friend like he's been before, but with other intentions in mind. Let's go into episode 6. Trey has left. He's very upset. After Trey has left, he has decided to go to social media, like most millennials do. Go to social media and let the world know that Will not be coming back to Philly in more words than one, and also lets them know that Will is not a real friend. He's a snake or whatever. And he puts all these like disturbing comments online, and his friends see this, and of course with the friends that he has, they all kind of gang up on him, and they decide to side with Trey on it. And Will sees this and he's very upset. He doesn't know how to deal with it, and Uncle Phil tries to make him feel better so like I mentioned, there was a fundraiser that they're trying to put together for lupus for Lisa's mom. So Will offers to help Aunt Viv to decorate for the fundraiser so that he can get his mind off of what's going on back in Philly, because he does plan to stay. So what does it matter that they don't like him anymore? It makes it more of a reason for him to stay in LA and get new friendships. What he does is, so we learn that Aunt Viv is hosting this fundraiser for Lupus and in honor of Lisa's mom's passing. And this is something that they've done since Lisa's mom passed away. Now, in the midst of Lisa's mom passed away, her father met this woman named Angela. Supposedly, he met this woman named Angela prior to when Lisa's mom passed, but they didn't start dating until Lisa's mom had died, basically. That's the math that we're supposed to go with, but we later find out that is not true in a way. We get to Hillary. Since Hillary has moved into this influencer house, she has to post every day. Remember I told you that she posted something she wasn't particularly proud of because she had to cater and help her mom? The thing that she posted was a sexy cooking video, more risque than what she's used to posting. The Kylo. And he's the one that actually posts the video of Hillary in the risque clothing, and she's cooking for them. So Lisa is worried that she'll forget her mom. So because of this, she's worried that she'll forget her mom because Angela came into the picture. Since Angela has been saying that her and her dad are actually going to move out because Angela is pregnant. They're going to move into a bigger house once the baby is born. And Lisa is worried that in the process of them moving, they may lose some stuff that is very near and dear to her heart that remind her of her mother. So she's worried that she'll forget about her mom entirely. And she doesn't want that to happen. So she's more focused on that versus anything else that's happening with Will and Carlton. Okay? And Will is giving them more space for Carlton to swoop in and try to be the knight in shining armor. And Carlton is kind of helping Lisa put together a speech to give at the fundraiser in honor of her mother. So Lisa decides to say one of the poems she wrote while grieving her mother. So the way that Will is acting towards her, since they're friends, she's realized that when Will is trying to not be around her, it kind of bothers her a little bit. So she does talk to Will about it, and Will is like, I'm just trying to give you your space. I understand that you and Carlton are having a situation right now. And Lisa kind of lets him know that she's actually the one that's comforting Carlton while she's dealing with her own stuff. Like, she doesn't like that she has to tiptoe around Carlton's feelings in order for her to deal with her own stuff, and it's kind of too much to babysit him and her feelings at the same time. Carlton kind of like eavesdrop and hearing this from the top of like the balcony. He's kind of hearing them talk about him, and he's upset about it, and he indulges a little bit, and he has like a moment in his room, and he has an anxiety attack per se in his room, and he kind of like starts to have like this a panic anxiety attack in his room. And Will finds out about it, and he lets him know that Lisa needs him. It's not the time to mess up. It's not the time to do this. And I understand that you're upset, and I will handle it this time, but next time you need to do a little better job of finding out, like, of using your emotion. Back him up, and he's going to give the speech with Lisa. Lisa and Will give the speech, and it's a great speech that Lisa says for her mom. And once the speech is done, then Angela, for some reason, she feels like it's her chance to say, like, I spoke to Fred, and he said I can speak. He said I can say a speech. Now, necessarily, I wouldn't see a problem with her giving a speech, but I understand why she's trying to give a speech when it's not really necessary, considering the fundraiser is in honor of her mother, at least in honor of Lisa's mom. Now is not the time to focus on you and your speech. The fundraiser is about Lisa and Lupus and raising money. It is not about you. So there's no reason for her to do, which is what basically Aunt Viv says. Like, Aunt Viv basically lets her know, this is not about you, this is about Lupus, and we not gonna talk about this. Like, Lisa's mom dealt with Lupus, she died from Lupus, and you don't need to go up there. So Angela's upset. She doesn't like that Aunt Viv talked to her that way. Fred is upset that Aunt Viv talked to Angela that way, and he wants to leave the party. Lisa says she's going to stay. Aunt Viv agrees that it's okay for her to stay. And Will, they talk by the pool, and they share their first kiss, and they decide that they're going to date, but in secret for now. Then we find out that Uncle Phil has competition. Uncle Phil has competition in the DA race because now Fred has entered the race and he is competing against Uncle Phil. Fred is Lisa's dad, so you can imagine how that's going to be a problem. So we find out that Lisa's dad is actually competing against Uncle Phil because of the defund police combat. He wants to protect his co-workers, and he feels like he'll be a better opponent, I guess. And I think he's just running in spite of Uncle Phil. I don't think he wanted to I don't think he actually even wants to give him a fair shot. I think he just wants to give him a competition in the end. I do want to take this time to thank my subscribers for watching